Uh, well, one more thing. We sort of watched 1995's Congo, starring Laura Linney, Joe Don Baker, uh, Joe Pantalone, um, Ernie Hudson, um, um, uh, Evil Dead dude. What the hell's his name? I can't remember. But in a total probably rather racist thing of a young scientist takes an ape back to Africa, but is his project is gets kind of hijacked by Laura Linney's tech company, who's going in as a rescue mission because the the uh, the company the big company dude's son has gone in to get diamonds for their communication satellite. Meanwhile, Tim Curry is Hokima Hamoka, uh, uh, the Romanian philanthropist, has come in to fund the young scientist thing, but he's actually looking for King Solomon's uh, lost city of Zinj for the diamonds. And there's Amy the ape who does sign language and is jealous of the young scientist and Laura Linney, and they go in, and there's sort of what's fairly kind of it's you got to think it's kind of fairly racist cliche kind of stuff about a failing African state, and they blew up the president's car, and who's Kafka, as one of the angry soldiers says to one of the hapless lab assistant, who's gone on to play plenty of other hapless lab assistants and stuff like Dante's Peak and stuff like that. Um, it's just complete cheese, but it's done by people whose talents are just far above this. Directed by Frank Marshall, with a score by what the hell, score by somebody who's doing kind of using the hey, which almost sounds like he's doing a Native American, North American score versus the proper African cliched score. But um, it's terrible, and also just great at the same time. It's like, stop eating my coffee cake, my fairy cake, Mister Hamolka. For the brutal African police soldier guy who uh, who gets bribed and staples up his money in a brown paper bag, and you know Laura Linney gets to be kick-ass and deliver lines like, "We're putting them back on. Let's put them back on the endangered species list." Or Ernie Hudson saying, like, when he's talking to natives who come out of the forest in their own language, and they start laughing. He said, like, it's like, Laura Linney asks him, like, why are they laughing at you? And he says, I told them I'm in charge. Why is that so funny? I'm black. I should have luggage on my head. And he is just so cool as, quote, the Great White Hunter. And it's interesting, in the production notes, it says that Michael Crichton originally was developing this as a vehicle for Sean Connery as kind of a version of this character, and that they ended up in a different version, it becoming Ernie Hudson, is just great. And Ernie Hudson does such an amazing job in a way that I think that someone like Sean Connery would have been insufferable in the role, or at least incredibly conventional as the Great White Hunter, whereas Ernie Hudson, with his kind of pencil mustache and kind of a kind of a suave English accent, is just delightful, in a great way. And yeah, Tim Curry is just so great as an oily Romanian con man who's apparently led plenty of people into this jungle and gotten them killed. It is terrible, um, probably terrible, problematic, uh, pulp fun done by a lot of people who could probably, all put them all together, and they should have made something much greater. But what they did make was surprisingly enjoyable and fun, and is especially a great thing to trim a little dog. Give a little dog her trim to. It's one of these movies, like, I've seen it so many times. I don't actually have to watch it that much to, like, you come along to the lines that you just love. Someone was talking about Princess Bride and how that was such a great movie for that. Of everyone's seen all the different parts and almost memorized it, and that, to probably a lesser extent, is what I can say about Congo. Not a good movie. Not a good movie. But if you're on its wavelength and you're not, you can forgive its really cliched portrayal of Africa, of Congo. It is a lot of fun, as long as you can sort of see that it is. It started out with Michael Crichton as going to be a homage to kind of classic pulp adventure fiction, and that's probably where it gets a lot of its racist roots, is because a lot of that stuff is indeed racist and comes out of the kind of the colonial view of Africa, which I have to admit, yeah, isn't as fun. But there's still a part of me that really enjoys it, and on a unironic kind of boyish level, while still at the same time being able to acknowledge I can see why this isn't become a classic, and why maybe a lot of people, if they just came to it fresh today, would just find it reprehensible. That be that as it may, I'll leave it there. Good night.